Listen, it's about time you start considering older gear for your studio. A lot of this brand new stuff simply isn't cutting it anymore. So let's talk about it. But first, allow me to introduce to you the only physical amp I have in my studio, the Line 6 Veta 2, which is a 20-something-year-old amp, along with my main audio interface, the Audient ID22, which is a 10 or 11-year-old interface. Both of these crucial pieces of gear in my studio are now labeled as dated and have been left behind by their manufacturers. So why did I grab these in 2024 when there are much newer, more advanced options out there? Well, to be honest, money. When I say that the new gear isn't worth it anymore, what I really mean is that for the longest time I was under the impression that newer was always better and absolutely always the best value. And I do believe that to be true in some ways because technology is always advancing, making it easier for these companies to develop these products, which a lot of times brings the cost down for the consumer in the end. For example, a couple of years ago I bought a DigiDesign 002 console, and when that thing was originally released in the early 2000s, it retailed for like $2,200. But in 2024, it's a lot easier and more affordable to get something with the exact same or even better features as the 002. That being said, retail price has gone down when you're looking at the features, but when you talk about buying used, that's where you find the real bargains. You can find the 002 used today for like $50 to $150. I was using mine as a standalone mixer that happened to have motorized faders, which was really nice. It also sent all of its inputs into my interface via one ADAT cable, which was really nice. And there was just nothing else on the market that could do all of that for $50 to $150. And I would put this Veta 2 in a similar category. I can't seem to find the exact retail price from when it was released, but from what I can tell, it looks like it was going for at least $1,500 when it came out. If you happen to know for sure, let me know in the comments below. This amp was actually gifted to me, but you can find them online for $250 to $500 or so, which is a killer deal for an all-in-one setup like this. It has two 12-inch Celestion speakers built in, you can run dual cabs, it has plenty of effects pedal options that can be easily manipulated, you can go direct out in stereo if you want, MIDI programming. It's pretty sick. I'm not even going to get into the tube amp versus digital amp debate here, but pretty much everything that I record is done DI from my guitar into my interface and then processed through plugins like Helix Native is the main one that I use. And that gives me incredible guitar tones and flexibility and is honestly more than enough for what I need in the studio. The Veta, however, gives me an amp setup that is readily available if somebody wants to come in here, just plug in real quick and mess around with ideas without me having to guide them through Helix Native. Also, a lot like I talked about in my last video about keyboards, it's just a lot faster to have something in the room where you can just turn it on and start playing. Also, for a bonus, the Veta has a built-in tuner, which I think is going to be a lot harder for me to lose than all of the other tuners that I seem to lose in my studio. Now going back to the Audient ID22, I think this one's a bit more interesting because it's the centerpiece of my studio at 10 or 11 years old. If this thing fails on me, I'm honestly screwed. But the ID22 is built like a tank, sounds incredible, and has many features that are not available in a bunch of the interfaces in this price range and form factor. One of the main things I was looking for was an interface that was expandable via ADAT in and out. Many interfaces in this category have ADAT input but not ADAT output. By the time I had bought the ID22, they had already released its successor, the ID24, for around $400, which is not a bad price for a new interface. But I ended up being able to grab the ID22 for less than half of that price and still get a fast, reliable interface that has mostly the same specs as the newer version. Now you may be thinking, alright, what's your point? To which I'll say this. There's nothing wrong with buying old gear. There's nothing wrong with buying new gear. In fact, I would encourage you to do so in many cases, but that's not the point of this video. But what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of people on YouTube and other platforms who are benefiting from you buying brand new gear. So you don't typically see people recommending old gear. And I'm not gonna lie, even I have affiliate links in the description of each of my videos that recommend you new gear, that's stuff that I use all the time. Still, I would never suggest that you just go buy the newest thing without doing your research and making sure that you're truly doing the best with the money that you have, as I know there's not a whole lot of it for many of us. I hope that this video serves as an encouragement to you more than anything else. It's a bit different than the usual videos that I make, so if you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more stuff like this. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic in the comments down below, even if you completely disagree with everything that I just said. As always, thanks for hanging out.